What up, my freaks? RuinusInsight here with part 14 of my Total War Warhammer 3 modded Count Noctilus Old World campaign. So, as we saw last time, Arianstan has defeated Dastan Coldeye, the Grey Vanquisher of the Tyrants of the Black Ocean, all of which a mouthful, but probably not enough to warrant the strength of his army. He is the 7th of the pieces of 8 that we have. We just have the one remaining here, or 6th, I guess, and then we just have the 7th piece of 8 remaining, which we will head out toward to get with Ari as well. As for the campaign itself, I see, well, campaigns are ending left and right now on the channel as the old makes way for the new, and I'd say probably 1 or 2 episodes remaining after this one. We're nearly there. We have basically arrived at Albion, and it'll mostly be a matter of how long it takes us to conquer the place, as pretty much everything other than the piece of 8, Albion and Baron von Heastie are done. So, we'll get there as soon as we can. Noctilus, you, my friend, are going to start the day off today, so let's have you, I guess, sack Blackclaw Lair just for the bonus little bit of XP via the via profit, like so. It'll damage you a little bit, but that might actually not be a bad thing. Sack it again. Probably not a crazy amount of XP, but whatever. And then I would like you to march stance. Wait, are you guys at war? They're not at war, good. I would like you to march stance quick as you can down here towards Balthazar Gelt. Maybe, by virtue of the fact that we're in march stance and a little bit damaged, maybe he won't run, though. I fully suspect that he's likely to do so. Maddie, I think you're done here, in the sense that we can probably start sailing you northward towards perhaps Barrakavar. It's kind of funny, I wasn't originally intending Maddie to be the... do you want to maybe raid while doing it? I could probably travel while raiding. What was I saying? I wasn't originally really intending to send Maddie down this way, but it's appropriate because it's a part of her lore that she's the Scourge of the Badlands, and the fact that she came down here again just serendipitous and lorefully appropriate for her own lore, so I like it. Anyway, Ari, let's have you bring down the remnants of Dastan's army, and ooh, 2 islands nearby. Alright, I mean, it's a quick stop to grab those islands, which we may as well do so. Heal up, sir. And get both of them. Tyrants of the Black Ocean destroyed. Island, oh my, oh wow, what the heck, it's just a long chain of islands. Should have gotten maybe more island armies sailing around and gathering these up. The problem with Ares' army when he does this is that it is weak in the sense of the auto-resolve not liking it, but you gotta do what you gotta do. See if you can't auto-resolve this one as well and then heal back up. Oh, we got another Dark Elven faction nearby, which are potentially friendly to us. Alright, let's see what we got here. And decisive victories, still low casualties, although... Huh, why did the Wraithstorm Carronades get hurt and the regular Carronades didn't? Oh man, I really don't get the auto-resolve sometimes, or a lot of the times. Anyway, I imagine you can't reach this other one, but what you can do is head back to the Great Ocean, and thereby heal to full. We may get the other 2 islands here, but we don't really need them as much, so maybe we'll turn right back around and go towards the other piece of 8, which is all the way up here. Gotta get to it after all, as it's part of our victory condition. And next up, Charles the Brine, who has gotten us a decent amount of islands, but must continue, as our currently only army that is doing this. I had originally intended to make more of these, but, well, it's all good. I'll get to find all of the islands in the fog, would you? I guess you don't need to go... Yeah, you know what? We'll move Sam the Clodder this way. I really want this army to actually get some fights going with those animated hulks. So yeah, you're going this way anyway, so maybe we'll send Charlie back up and around this coastline. Maybe cut through like this, because we know that we're headed to the oil fields with the... to the oil rigs, rather, with the other army. Anyway, who's up next? Tuto Zadley, you are good to go now, right? Yes, you are. Alright, so, you're going to continue onward. And, wait, did you need to build something? You did, so let's go here. I believe we should be able to find at least some enemies down this coastline. I don't mean this faction, which we're gonna be friendly with, by the looks of it. I suppose we should probably still try to, I guess, set up some coves in their territory, but, oh well. At this point in time, it's not super critical either. Anyway, 2 toes. Do you have that ship's carpenter? You do not. Let's get that in your army real quick. And then build up the carronades and the portholes, and let's see. Anything else critical here? I mean, I guess we could start building the, oh. I should probably save up to get the Moonraker, shouldn't we? And possibly, nay, probably the Promethean Anchor. Although this is only 1 point. Just get it. It's only 1. Who cares? Just better to be building them every turn. Anyway, that's 2 toes. Who is up next? Ooh, you know what? I was about to say Burke Black is up next, but, well, yeah, fine. We'll move Burke Black, but I also forgot that I wanted to do something. So first you're going to head to Sac Urbimo. And by Sac, I mean establish a pirate cove.
Fight them.
Auto-resolve, crabs, good job, and then establish the pirate cove there, obviously, and then you can go for the Pirate's Rest, as we always do. Not that we need any more infamy, but why not? And then I take it... Oh, that took all of your movement. Okay, fair enough. Or unfair enough. You'll head to Viadaza next. Bones, I assumed that you were next, but... You know what, we'll move you since you're next. Let's send you here. You're gonna hit the Great Mills, who we will be transferring to Clan Scryer, which means we're free to transfer Tobaro to the Rapturous Excess instead, which works out decently well for us. So, you're gonna go here, you're gonna encamp, and I take it you don't need to build anything because we're saving up for the Great Cabin, so, and just wait there. Happy with that. Then, we'll take Tobaro and we'll trade it to these guys instead of the rats, and what we'll want to do is break non-aggression pact with World Walkers, break trade agreement with World Walkers, break military access with World Walkers. They're not in a defensive alliance with them or anything like that, so we'll go for the join war against World Walkers. I mean, I suppose, like, I guess we break all those anyway if we join the war. Whatever. Then we'll go military access, and I guess we just go straight up military alliance and take a little bit of cash. Why not? This way they should be remaining friendly, hopefully, with Scryer and with these guys. Hopefully they all don't end up attacking each other, but we'll see. Like so. Alright, and what I'm hoping will happen is that since they share territory with the World Walkers, is that Abyssa essentially takes these 2 territories over, and then that'll work out well for us. Where do you build the most stuff? We're probably not going to bother... Where's their capital, incidentally? Just out of curiosity. It's at Solsona, but I doubt that it'll be very well defended. But we can't build anything at Largos because, well, fine, Solsona it is then. Capital. Alright, construct. And Clan Pestilence, upgrade this and ally missions, Leo Le Troubadour. Okay, let's go for you. Anybody else? Wait, we should double check if there are any outposts buildable, but no, we're looking okay. Alright, then, I suppose what we could also do is get these guys to... Okay, they don't like each other very much. I was gonna say, we could either trade Sarascuro to Clan Scuttle for another agreement. That's certainly a possibility. We'll save it for now. We'll see how these guys react to all this. And Scryer, how do you two feel about each other now? So they're not super fond of breaking the treaties with the World Walkers, but they will be as soon as we trade them this, so I think it'll be fine. Alright, let's keep going. Charlie. Charlie, not Charles. You, I guess, are gonna go and sack Borgas. You're just going to continue running around here and annoying the rats and annoying the Norskins as well. Auto-resolve and sack. And oh, wait, you need to get the Regiment of Renown of the zombie-powered gunnery mobs with pistol, don't you? We're going to have to do that somehow. We'll figure that out. You can go into encamp? Actually, raid. What's the likelihood the Deathmaster Snitch actually attacks you? Probably fairly low. Just move past Bilbali and then go to Barboza. I mean, I don't really care about these guys, admittedly. I'd rather have the Cove. Anyway, the rest of that looks good to me. Who's up next? That's Charlie. Cat has already moved. Sam the Clotter has moved. Trusty Monfort has moved. Marianne Oxenford. Ah, yes. Okay, so you do need to move. And what we need you to do is A, move out And B, you're going to want to transfer all of those units to a different lord, one who, because you need to be reset anyway, so we'll just get a random lord of the Deep, because it's the only one that we have that can reasonably slow enemies down. And I guess we'll go with Intriguant. We don't really care about these as much anymore. Before we wanted the Murderer or whatever one with Brute for battles, but since we recruit them now at rank 34, which is past rank 30, their loyalty can never decrease anymore because they have loyal to the end as a starting point, so all good. And then we'll immediately give you a Route Marcher, and then we'll level you up to buff everybody up next turn. You're going to go after Baron von Heastie, I guess, because frankly, Noctilus is way too far. He's just not going to reach here. And I'm perfectly happy to sacrifice this army to slow him down as well, as I doubt they'll beat him. But hey, I love a nice little last stand battle. I always enjoy those, so you can try that. Jacqueline, stay there. You were going to set up a little army to sail around, grab coves. Treasure Hunter, you were headed down to try to find Vlad, though frankly it's not super necessary anymore as we're heading into the end of this short campaign. Establish a pirate cove at Hemry, and it doesn't generate a lot of money either, so I guess it's another pirate rest. And I think that's an end. Okay, no, it's not. Treasure Seeker, you were going... I guess you were trying to find Vlad from another direction, or possibly establishing some coves up here. Treasure Hunter, you were going this way. And that hasn't changed. Gonna keep trying to find a few nice places to cove up. Wow, 60 money generated? Okay, that's not great. Oh, okay, Cove Creator, you were going to hit Libaros, but frankly, maybe it's not a good idea to annoy these guys too much yet until our relationship is fixed, so just kind of land and then stick around. Who the heck is Isabel Sawyer? Oh, right, you were going to dig up the, you were going to go dig up the one that was down here, so go do that, please. Okay, I don't care where you land, just land. There you go. Alright, good enough. And I guess you can establish the coves here as well if needed. So let's max that out and let's get Specialist going. Alright, good enough for me. Skip Garrison Lord unsigned skill points and turn. Let's see what Baron von Heastie does next. And, go figure, Leonardo Catrazza will actually attempt to attack O'Bones McDonald and the artillery army. I think this is once again a matter of the AI underestimating us, though that is a lot of Outriders with grenade launchers, who, as we've seen, can do a ton of damage with a single volley. And frankly, the Hawkland long rifles as well, if they get a few shots up before we hit them, they do not outrange the pew 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 crew and the other deck gunners, however. And the Wailing Whalers. Anyway, let's do this real quick. Ooh, let's give the Scarecrow banner, I'm gonna say, to probably one of these guys, one of the Gunnery Whites. And there'll be more in the back line than the other two will. Go. Or we could, no, I was about to say put it on best, but she has the whole banner of militia, so yeah. Ooh, alright, here we go. I was expecting, or worried rather, that this one might be a little bit uninteresting since the artillery army is extremely strong, but it looks like that might not actually be the case. Oh, I love those Batwing Bombards, they're fantastic. What a great unit. That really, I think of the modded units, this one really should just be straight up added to the faction. It's glorious and it's so fun to watch and it's so on theme, etc, etc, etc. But anyway, as I was saying, I was worried that we might be a little bit on the too easy side, but we are screwed over by the terrain here. There's trees everywhere, there's a hill right in front of us, and basically one sort of firing line down to the enemy, but only half of their army is visible, and even then, hills are blocking a lot of the fire, which means this might very well get quite dangerous. Anyway, the enemy lord and an empire captain will move towards us. We're going to target the lord first and the captain second, as the lord is more important, and will get knocked off that griffin rather quickly. The captain, however, will land, annoying or attempting to annoy first one of our necrofexes, and then one of our lords or heroes. Fortunately, the captain already got severely damaged by a bunch of stuff, and completely necessary Batwing Bombards will also smack into him. and obliterate them, by the looks of it. Still, more enemy units are moving towards us, and there we go, a volley, or that was like a small part of a volley, a portion of a volley, will hit one of our units of deck gunners, stripping about 20% of their HP, and every additional shot that either misses the Necrofex or goes over the Necrofex will be another deck gunner destroyed. Ooh, looks like a second unit of deck gunners is being damaged. A lot of the enemy infantry are also on the approach, but while on the approach they are covered or protected by the hill. Another unit of Outriders will charge through our right flank, ignoring the summoned crabs, and charge directly into one of our carronades, who immediately lose 2 of their artillery pieces. And the AI is really weirdly good at being able to ignore engagement like this. Like, we were attacking them, but now they're just going to ignore it, and they're going to continue charging on through. And another couple of artillery pieces destroyed by virtue of their charges. And of course, they're chucking grenades as they ride around, destroying more artillery pieces. This is not good, folks. I see more Outriders hitting our deck gunners here, and the Wailing Whalers down to, what, 10% of their HP. We're going to try to heal them up with an Invocation of Nehek, and hopefully we can keep them on field. Oh wow, look at all that, and all Ironsides firing away at one of our units, but fortunately the kill was in some ways protecting some of our units as well as it was protecting theirs. Looks like with that the enemy army will shatter, but it was a rather close one. Artillery piece nearly destroyed, down to 1 piece. In fact, the Wailing Whalers nearly defeated. One of the Necrofex is severely damaged, more damage into the pew 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 crew, and yeah, fun fight. This army is completely and utterly dependent on getting a decent terrain of a map. If we were to get one that's like all trees, this army would be completely screwed and would have to withdraw, as it just wouldn't be able to fight. And this is why it can be very dangerous to have a sort of a themed army, even a themed artillery army, and without having any recourse to certain terrain or to certain enemy army compositions. But that's generally the fun aspect of having themed armies. They more lean into the rock, paper, scissors sort of deal rather than into a sort of jack of all trades deal. And with the rock, paper, scissors, sometimes, well, you're paper and you run into scissors, and you have a really fun time trying to get your way out of fights where the enemy counters you. Anyway, fun little fight. Hey, a war banner. Nice find for one of the Necrofexes in this particular army. But yeah, decisive victory, but actually a lot closer than it could have been. The unit of Wailing Whalers here was nearly melting away. One of the units of artillery, I think it was one of the Ray Storms or one of the regular carronades, I don't remember, but they were down to 1 out of 4 of their carronades, though their crew survived their actual artillery pieces and got obliterated. Mortars are still not really doing anything whatsoever in this particular army, unfortunately, but, well, once again, admittedly, they don't have any veterancy, and they're just getting overshadowed by everything else. I was originally going to replace them with the, with more Necrofexes or more other artillery pieces, which is still a possibility, but it's obviously not super, it doesn't matter all that much. Yeah, less damage on the regular carronades than on the Wraith Storm carronades, but they were targeting the enemy single entities, well, less kills, which explains that. The Wailing Whalers nearly got destroyed, and one of the Necrofexes, the Queen Anne's Revenge, still took fairly considerable damage. Fortunately, though, we can simulate captives and get most of our HP back, and I imagine that faction's gonna try to book it on out of there. Peace treaty with you. I don't know why we'd bother. I mean, sure, you could potentially sail some armies our way, but we could just ignore you while you do, too. It'll be fine, I'm sure. Anyway, okay, wait. The Baron von Heastie should be at the very end of the number of units. Where will you attack this turn? Shark Strait Sea Dogs will attack at... nowhere. Oh, it looks like they're trying to go directly for this army, which is fine. We can once again, as planned, sacrifice this army for this particular purpose. That'll hopefully delay them long enough. Anyway, while succeeds, Ironclad works ambusher discovered Orion, who cares? Ally begins outposts, ally mission successful, there's that war banner, seasoned campaigner. Seafarer, good at trained gun hands. Missile resistance for artillery. Could have actually used that in that particular fight. Mission issued. Razor Sack Alquizaro, which is... yeah... I mean, we could probably set up a cove there, but anyway. Let's first grab our tech. First mate... construction costs for infrastructure. I don't think we care about construction costs at this point in time. Maybe... oh, maybe let's get the speed plus 10% for all characters faction-wide. A little bit of extra speed wouldn't be amiss either. I think we will also now activate the Curse of the Queen's Cannon. We got 10 turns of extra massive range for all artillery units. It's always nice to have, as well as the casualty replenishment rate. So we'll do this. Frankly, I wanted that casualty replenishment rate more, but anyway. Mary Ann Oxenford, you are going to transfer to Rosevole. Bills of all will transfer points to anybody who got the reference to you, and then you're going to go after Baron von Heastie. You're gonna have to go into regular stance rather than march stance or full speed stance because well, yeah. And then Marianne, you're gonna go back to the Seamaw because you're our recruiter, or at least one of them. Actually, I think you're the only one that's a real recruiter lord that isn't a ship lord. Anyway, you, Beatrice, have just a bunch of random garbage, and ooh, well, we can get you a bunch of bloated corpses. In fact, I wonder whether we could land here and still... this count as disembarking and still hit this army. Well, so I'm gonna get a few of the special bloated corpses in here, but it's all good. Yeah, let's see. What can we get? Are the bombers going to be of any use here? Not against the depth guard, maybe a little bit against the Karen Wraiths. I think the bloated corpses will help against the Karen Wraiths and Hex Wraiths. That might be nice. Probably too many of the deckhands mobs, especially of the sword variant, so let's get rid of those. We could use another animated Hulk, so that's another one of these that'll serve no purpose here. That's 3 with the bloated corpses. Once again, keeping in mind that we are looking to... oh. Yeah, that'll max out the army again. And I just realized we have no artillery pieces, so we can't benefit from the Curse of the Queen's Cannon, but that's alright. Hey, you're moving in to sacrifice yourself, though I guess you're immortal, so you don't even care. Loyal to the end, I guess. Let's get you Inspiring Presence, and nobody's at a high rank, but you can still give a little bit of extra damage via Reanimated Marksman, and... I guess Drowned and Bound, more speed for the bloated corpses. Let's get you a Vasti, and, well, we should probably get the benefit of all hands away.
Loyalty like this is
and Sorcelled Weapons, all hands away. Now, do you have any mana? Actually, you have a decent little bit, so let's get you the Hunger, a Root Marcher, Spirit Leech, Life Leeching. Spirit Leeches will be the main thing, though frankly, we could probably benefit from Theta Biuna here as well. Missile Strength, and we'll get Poacher for the bonus versus infantry, I guess. Lucky Charm, a Monkey Jacket. Let's get 2 points in Soulblight because it's useful. I don't see us really making use of either aspect of the Dread Knight or Doom and Darkness with the limited amount of mana that we have, but who knows. We might need to cause a leadership shock to see some of the enemies mount. Let's get you Evasion and then Theta Biuna. And I'm not going to bother with the miscast, and I think we will save the rest of the points. We have 6, so we could get Pyromaniac. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We would have exactly enough to get that, assuming we don't want more fighty tree points. But frankly, if we're looking to sacrifice you anyway, we don't really care. This will give us the ability to throw more of the bombs and melt away more additional units. So let's do that. Powder Monkey and I guess Black Gunsight into Pyromaniac. All right. And just to double check, you have no items, which is appropriate. Rosevole, we will level you up before we fight, but let's move everybody else before getting into this fight. Now, Gelt is still there. Alright, now we will want to fight Gelt. I'm actually kind of shocked that he didn't run from Noctilus. We could also leave this to the next episode and instead do the Baron von Heastie fight, depending on how much damage we do with Beatrice Hawkins, though. She should be able to wipe out at least a couple of the units of this army, even if it's a basic army, and we'll see in a second. Noctilus, I'm gonna leave you there. Airy, no more islands. Go this way. Oh, maybe I should have... Okay, the shipwreck is on the way. It's on the way. Though I do wonder whether you can actually reach it if you go into regular stance. You can... You'll be just beside it. Alright, fine. Cost us like half a turn worth of movement. Not a huge deal. Alright, fair enough. Move everybody else around as well. Maddie, keep on traveling northward while raiding as you do. You're our best raider as far as I can tell. Charles, you're gonna cut this way. Find some islands if you can. And then while you're moving that way, we will move you towards those oil rigs. So. Alright, any islands? Huh, no, Charles, maybe islands don't spawn in the middle here. I haven't seen a single one, and in some other areas we've gotten a ton of islands very much in close proximity to each other, which is a little bit odd. As in, it's odd that we're seeing none here. Maybe Charles is just not super lucky, but he did find 2 Skull Islands for us. Though on the other hand, I suppose Two Toes Adley technically spotted those first. So the credit goes to her. Burke Black, you were going to hit via Datsa, and that still remains the case. Oh, Durthu. In a ship, with Ariel in tow. Okay, probably gonna have to be careful about that, frankly. The Crab Army would actually probably have a difficult time fighting Durthu himself, which might be kind of interesting to think about. Auto-resolve, and obviously once again establish a Pirate Cove, and then we'll once again do the Pirate's Rest. Huh? Oh, Miragliano has the Picaroon's hideout. No, you're gonna go to the Pirate's Rest. And then you're gonna go right back into encamp stance. Good. Who still needs to move? Two Toes. You certainly do. Keep going up the coastline. You essentially had what was your final battle that you barely survived, so I'm not super concerned about finding you a major fight before the end of the campaign, so just keep on traveling and doing what you're doing for now. And let's also keep building up all of the stuff you got. There you go. Alright, the rest of this is fine. Almost tempted to build the ship's hold as well. Well, you should probably build the Moonraker first. Yeah, fine. We'll wait on it. Not a huge deal. Oh, Bones, did I not send you? Okay, we still have to wipe all of this out. So, go to Great Mills, and I'm gonna wait. Is it a defended? It is not a defended territory. Alright, go grab Great Mills. Hopefully this one's auto-resolvable, and it will be, but I would like to check whether there's another enemy within range. I think they can't cross the swamp, which is fine, meaning you can just auto-resolve this even though it'll damage you pretty heavily, but that's fine. And we'll go for the War Banner on one of the Necrofexes, which I frankly should have done to the Black Pearl. Occupy. Alright, and we will spend the turn healing here as well as building one of the military structures, and then we'll see how much it's worth to the Skaven afterwards. I'd love for them to break their agreements with the World Walkers, and... Oh, come on, what are you doing? Really? So we made these guys declare war on World Walkers. They are now at war. They had 4 armies here, 4 full stacks, and this place is essentially a free territory, and Wolfric has nobody defending. And instead of going for them, they're all going to back off? Okay. Okay, that's the AI for you. Anything to inconvenience the player, but will do absolutely nothing to inconvenience another AI. What can you do? You go to Barboza. Though I fear that it might actually get destroyed by a rebellion, but also not the hugest deal, I admit.
The crew are restless.
Auto-resolving? Huh, we actually took a lot more damage there than we did fighting the Skaven. Go figure. Anyway, parts rest for you. This place is not generating and will never generate enough money for us to care about it. Alright, who, if anybody else, is next? That was Charlie. Cat Sharp. Ah, yes. Okay, so... what's the best way to do this? Trogland. Ooh, that would be a... Alright, fine. We're gonna send Trusty Montfort for this, for the Fell Cargo, because we get a full stack here. And I want to see those... ghosties go up the walls. Also, who are you at war with? Bellicor, right? And you're allied with the Jade Court and the Hunts Marshal's expedition. I think we'll just straight up declare war on you because, it's fine to be fighting all of those factions. Call your allies to help. You know what? I'm not going to risk losing our allies at this point, so don't bother. Although, it will give us missions. Might be able to activate access a unit or two. Go for it, why not? Don't refuse to join. Don't do it. Somebody's going to refuse to join, aren't they? Don't be the 1,000 Maws. It's a rapturous excess. Well, that's annoying. And the other... yes, these guys doing anything to inconvenience us after we gave you so much. And yeah, you just caused a big problem for yourself because now the Rakarth hates you and... Skavenblight doesn't care, but... we traded you a settlement for that. At least they're still at war with these guys, but yeah, they broke their alliance quite quick. Probably wouldn't be too much of a hassle to get it back, but anyway. Now I'm... Do we leave the start of Albion to next episode? I really want to try this possibly last stand battle against Baron von Heastie, so I think we'll start with that. After building, because I didn't do it before. Fortunately, the building is very easy and quick in this particular campaign. Rebuild what was sacked/damaged. We are missing the... I think we care about the Night Pyres. What is this again? Oh, it's a growth building. Oh, we don't need that either. Let's obviously go for the Lagoon of Drowned Sailors, the Necrophex building, and then we'll build a Crab building or some other building there. It doesn't really matter. You will get the Armory of the Soulless. Moan Island, yes. Tier 4, meaning you get the Pirate Hall. And, I mean, I guess we could do the Buccaneers Tavern, although... I mean, I guess it's Pirate Crew growth rate faction-wide, so still do it. Technically, these should be military installations or sort of sea forts, but it's not super critical either, admittedly. Alright, now, let's do this little fight. Should be a nice little last stand for a random Lord Beatrice, and then allow Rose Vol to attack these guys with a nice full stack next turn. Originally, they were supposed to go up to Albion to help, but that's fine. Let's see how Heastie handles himself against all this, but mostly we're just here to damage the army. Go. Alrighty, here we go. Baron von Heastie and the Shark Straight Sea Dogs versus random raised dead garbage. Yeah, Super Elite versus our force, so we're going to probably have a bad time, but who knows. We do have something I generally don't use, and that's 3 bloated corpses. And as we know, the bloated corpses can be really, really nasty if the enemy allows us to use them. Now, the setup for the battle, we have the deckhand mobs with polearms out front. Behind them we have the gunnery mobs with pistols as the essentially 2 melee and melee adjacent lines. Directly behind them our short range zombie powered gunnery mobs with hand cannons, and then bombers as well. And then directly behind all of them who are firing in through, hopefully, the sort of holes in the line will be our 3 units of handguns. Yes, the handguns can't fire over the heads of these guys at infantry, but they're going to be targeting the flying units, the monsters, the monstrous infantry, and ignoring the smaller guys. The plan, the hope, is to allow the bloated corpses to destroy the, well, those things that are vulnerable to same said bloated corpses. And we'll see if we can pull it off in that matter. So, here we go. Baron von Heastie's super elite army heads towards us. We're going to keep spamming Spirit Leech on the enemy Necrophex Colossus as we have no artillery piece, and that is essentially, well, more or less a mobile artillery. Artillery monster, I think it's a, yeah, artillery monster. But anyway, gonna summon a unit of zombies in front of the enemy in the hopes of forcing a bunch of them to blob up and getting our first bloated corpse to destroy a few. First of the enemy infantry, monstrous and regular alike, are charging forth. It's Depth Guard with polearms and Crypt Horrors. What a nasty combination. Frankly, I'd love to have that combination myself. Anyway, as those guys charge in, the Hex Wraiths and Karen Wraiths join them, and here come a unit of Vargeists, but the Vargeists quickly get shot down and obliterated, though the rest of the units did manage to charge in. Depth Guard, Hex Wraiths, Karen Wraiths all together, and that seems like a ripe target for our first bloated corpse. Come on, charge them, and this isn't ideal, but I really got to get those depth guard. There we go. All right, that took a decent amount of HP. It was kind of in the middle, but yeah, it leaves 10% to 15% HP on the depth guard, hex rates, and depth guard. Those units, or hex rates, cairn rates, and depth guard, those 3 units are more or less destroyed. The crypt cores will be the next target, as our handgunners and hand cannons will try to focus them down, while the animated hulks hold back both the crypt cores as well as the Death Shriek Terrorgeist. I noticed that the enemy... Wait, when the AI uses the units, the textures aren't broken, but they are with ours? Even if it's the same unit? What the heck? Game, stop it. Alrighty, how are we doing otherwise here? Another unit of Argeists nearly destroyed. We have 2 more bloated corpses running around, one heading directly for the Grave Guard and Depth Guard in the center, and then the other one moving to the right flank where the Hex Rates and Cairn Rates appeared. A unit of Rotting Leviathan, rather, has been focused down and destroyed while distracted by the bombers, and another bloated corpse makes its way in, destroying completely the depth guard with polearms and grave guard. It also, however, does destroy the zombie pirate deckhand mob, and unfortunately heavily damages 2 of our own units. I guess the area was a little bit bigger than I was expecting, but still worth it to bring the enemy down, as we can't really fight on par with them. Alright, the balance of power has actually shifted in our favor. We may not have veterancy and we may not have elite units, but we do have walking bloated bombs to make up for the lack of elites. And do have to be careful, as our right flank will probably collapse rather soon. Rotting Prometheans charging on in. Of course, those Cairn Rates and Hex Rates are still there. That said, every single unit in our army is sacrificial. We don't care about the survival of any of them, and especially every single unit that's sticking around is there to allow the handguns to continue firing. One more bloated corpse yelling, "Love me," as he jumps on in and hits those Cairn Rates and Hex Rates. Once again, a rather big area of effect completely wipes the Cairn Rates or the Hex Rates out and leaves only 2 Cairn Rates around and 3 zombie pirate deckhand mobs. Lovely. Alright, and the bloated corpses certainly paid dividends with that. There are a few monstrous infantry still running around, but the handguns are still working. We did deploy them all the way back, and they've been firing this entire time, while the rest of our units have been holding the enemy. Death Shriek Terrorgeist still fighting, surrounded by those animated hulks, which it has nearly destroyed, and dang, 103 kills and 16,000 damage. Great job to the Death Shriek Terrorgeist. And we'll summon some zombies to distract it so it doesn't go after our lord. Speaking of our lord, she or he, whoever, has been plinking away at the enemy lord with pistol fire, I assume. Does the range damage actually work when you're on the Rotting Prometheans? I'm not 100% sure. I got some damage on, yeah, but I'm not entirely sure what it's from. 19,385. Oh, might not be possible if the enemy lord is blocked. Well, that's fine. The deckhand mobs can keep the enemy lord distracted. We wouldn't be able to fight in melee directly anyway, and those bombs are probably hurting us more than the enemy, but that's alright. As the bombs clear out the deckhands mobs, they'll do a tiny bit of damage on the lord. We'll pop another spirit leech, and then as soon as the deckhands mobs are gone, we will get those handguns, who are still around, firing away. Down to 15% of its HP, debilitated. The enemy lord is nearly done for. The Necrofex Colossus has begun to melt away, but it looks like Baron von Heastie is unbreakable and will fight to the last, like a true legendary admiral, though perhaps not so pirate-like. And he charges on in, spotting our lord, and will drop just as he reaches our lord. Fantastic. With that, Baron... I got too excited and it hurt my throat. Baron von Heastie falls, the Necrofex Colossus disintegrates, and the last unit on field, summoned from the rotting corpse of the Necrofex Colossus, or the debris, will fade away, and a Pyrrhic victory is ours. Ooh, hello. Got a nice little fortress up here. Is a Chaos Fortress? Kind of hard to tell. Now, there are 8 of these. The architecture, I really wish I could zoom in. It's so far, I can't quite make out what's going on over there. There's some kind of skull And the end with an entrance over there as well. Anyway, whatever it is, it's neat and I love it. But anyway, I was not expecting to win that. Very pleasantly surprised. I mean, if the roles were reversed and we were facing off against our own army, this would just be garbage and would be auto-resolvable and have no threat whatsoever. Bloated corpses, man. All right, there we go. A random BS wins over the mightiest of the admirals, or the infamous admirals, which is kind of hilarious. But it did give us a really nice fight, wherein we lost, what, 80% or so of our army in terms of units. And yeah, despite the fact that we did lose them, we did win with just a pile of random trash that we raised against this admittedly pretty darn ridiculous stack. Like, I would probably not build a stack of this caliber myself, with the possible exception to if a themed army, but I would consider this to be way too expensive and way too powerful, unnecessarily powerful of a stack. So yeah, it's a very good one that Baron had, but well, we won out in the end. 10,000 damage, 15,000 damage, and 11,000 damage. I'd say that the bloated corpses essentially delivered this battle to us. They deleted essentially both of the enemy units of depth guard and most of the units of hex rates, and the depth guard and hex rates were going to be the big issue here. The big boys, the monstrous infantry and the monsters themselves, were all killable by focus fire via our zombie pirate gunnery mob with handguns, but the infantry would not have been so. So it was up to the bloated corpses to clear the way for us, and that's nice to see. We actually got use out of bloated corpses, which is pretty unusual, as I don't usually bother with them. Anyway, there we go. Pigeon Plucker Pendant faction destroyed, and there we go. Pirate of Legend, diplomatic relations plus 100 with Vampire Coast, and we already read this when we got it. Sea Shanty versus gained Shiver Me Timbers. You've secured one of the verses. Yeah. All right, lovely. I assume we don't get the final battle that Noctilus got in the Vortex campaign. I assume that was supposed to be his more or less final battle, but that's fine. Anyway, Beatrice Hawkins, I was impressed with that, and by virtue of it, I guess we'll send you out to sea to gather islands. Not that we really need them, or maybe just to stick around here and patrol territory. Rose Bowl, I guess, well, you weren't needed to deal with that, so we'll send you up north to Albion, or wherever we can reach faster, essentially, instead. These guys would probably offer no real threat, but we just declared war on 3 factions at Albion, so there would be stuff to do there. Anyway, folks, with that, we're out of time. I'm going to call the episode here a fun little fight, and we've acquired the last of the sea shanties. Just a couple more things to do. A last piece of 8, and then, well, we make landfall at Albion at the very start of the next episode at Trogland, and see how the ghostly units fare when we send them up those walls against all those piles of sea guard and stuff. Should be pretty fun, and let's see how well they guard the sea. Anyway, just a bit more Noctilus to come, 1 or 2 more episodes, so stay tuned. Don't forget to leave those likes and comments below. All glory to the algorithm, and thanks for watching.